Yo, I'm Kavam.
Yo, I'm Rash.
And welcome to the Before Our Friends Die podcast on the akhi&saltfish digital network. This is the platform where we have the conversations we want to have before we leave this planet.
With that in mind, let's go.
Let's go. Hey, Rachel.
Yo, Kavam, what are you telling me?
Brother, I'm good. It's always good to be back in your company
Come on.
talking about important things that matter to us before we leave this
Planet.
Indeed. Look, I think sometimes in life, bro, we can feel like we're stuck in a cycle, in a rut, and we can't get out of it.
Yep.
And I think sometimes the way out is taking a risk.
100%.
The fear in taking that risk can be paralysing, but sometimes the result of that risk can be liberating.
Aye.
So with that in mind, I want to introduce our brand new guest. R.I.P. it is, by the way. Let me turn that down. Sheban.
Yo. Hey. Come on, Sheban, come on.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
It's
coming
great to
on.
have you here. Look, I suppose it's worth being completely transparent. We know each other quite well, right?
Mm-hmm.
We lived together for a period of time in China.
Mm-hmm.
About 10 months, fair to say.
Yes, about 10 months.
And since then, we've kept in touch,
Mm-hmm.
and we've seen each other go on different journeys in terms of our career paths. We've again taken risks, but I wanted to start, not necessarily with the start of Sheban, but I wanted to give you a list of countries, and I want you to tell me what your thoughts are on those countries, yeah? I'm
Okay.
going to give you the whole list. Brazil, Hong Kong, China, England, and I'm going to split England down into Leeds, Manchester, Birmingham, and that's all I can think of. What do all those places mean to you? What do they represent if you used to sum it up?
Okay.
Go
So, starting with Brazil. Brazil, to me, stands for community. Because when I went to Brazil, it was clear that community and family are quite important things in the Brazilian culture. And even though I was an outsider, I was welcomed with such love. And Hong Kong. Oh, Hong Kong's a tough one. Hong Kong was the first time I had ever lived abroad. So Hong Kong for me stands for independence, because being out there by myself, it wasn't easy, but it was worth it. And I got to develop my personality a lot more through interactions with my housemates and my classmates, and just navigating within a different country, living in a different country, paying bills in a different country. It was crazy at the time, but it definitely gave me the tools I needed to survive in China.
Go on.
So China means two different things to me, because the first time I went to China was in 2015. That was to do a summer school in Shanghai for Mandarin.
Sick.
And that was my first time ever going abroad, leaving England.
Yeah.
So imagine, I was about 19 at the time, and got this amazing opportunity. The scholarship was paid for. And my first flight ever was going to be 8 hours, well, a bit longer than that, 11 hours. And to a country like China as well, which you can attest to this, Kavan, so
different.
It's so different. So that definitely sparked my lust for travel, because once I went to China, I felt that I could go anywhere else in the world, because China's China. The second thing it means to me is that year in China we spent together, man. So much. the second time I went to China, just for context, I had just left university.
What did you study?
I studied politics and modern history. So I jumped on a plane, went to China again, Shenzhen. And to me, I felt like that experience, what it meant to me, it was a transition period for me, definitely. I feel when I went to China, I had just recovered from like being depressed. So, I went there and it was a true test to how well I have recovered because, again, it's out of my comfort zone. And I had no support system out there. And, I'm so grateful I was truly blessed out there because I could have been put with the most horrible people in the world, and I could have been employed by the most horrible school in the world, but I wasn't. I managed to live with you, Kavan. I was placed with you.
That for himself.
And the school I worked at was amazing. So
Did you guys work at the same school as well? Or?
Wasn't it the same branch?
I think they were probably the same. I suppose we'd call it academy trust, but not the same school. So
Yeah. But yeah, it was a transition because it proved to me that I am capable of doing a lot of stuff.
So let's track it all back then. So you mentioned that Shanghai was your first venture outside of England.
Yeah.
And we will get to the other locations within England shortly. But what I want to do is sort of get into the chronological order of those countries.
Yeah.
In which you attended them.
Okay.
And then why you did it. So Shanghai first. What was the motivations in Shanghai? I take it you're 19, so you're in your second year of uni. Is that fair or first?
I was in my first year of uni.
Was that 2015?
Yes.
So your first year of uni.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you hear about this opportunity?
My friend Sarah, well, she's not my friend, she's more of a sister.
I thought going to be like, she's not my friend anymore. I was like, shit.
Shout out to Sarah. But she went the year before me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she told me about it. And
what did she say?
She said that it's an opportunity to go to Shanghai. Well, I think she didn't go to Shanghai. She went to Beijing. I think she did. It wasn't Shanghai. It was one of the cities. And so she went there. She had an amazing time. This scholarship was with the British Council, and she just said, "Hey, you should apply." And at first, I was a bit apprehensive, because, as I said previously, I hadn't travelled outside of the UK. But what made me do it was, what made me? I'm trying to think about what I was like at age 19. Sometimes I just do things because it sounds cool, and I know that sounds really immature, but sometimes I'm like, let me just try.
When you say it sounds cool, what sounds cool to you? Sounds cool
To me. I thought, China, I'll try, but I usually do things without thinking that I would be accepted. So I wasn't thinking I'd be accepted because my friend Sarah, my sister Sarah, she was an academic goddess, she had tons of internships on her belt, and this was
just another one.
Yeah.
Another
one. So really enough with Shanghai, actually, a part of me, my mind was, I always say that a part of me was preparing for it. So even though the conscious part of me was like, maybe I probably won't get in, the other side was preparing in terms of, even before I had applied, as soon as Sarah said, you should apply, I just started saving randomly, because I did have to cover my own flights.
What was that? when you say preparing as well, is it just saving or is it mentally visualizing what it's going to be like?
It was just saving, because looking back, I think deep down I knew that I'd get it, but I just didn't want to believe I'd get it.
Okay.
I know that sounds a bit.
Why do you think that is?
A confidence thing, but I think it was a bit of intuition playing there. It's like you just prepare for it, just prepare just in case, and it came through. Well, actually, I was put on the waiting list, and then about 2 weeks later, they emailed me and said someone dropped out. There's a free space. I was like, okay, yeah, great. So luckily, again, I had saved like months before. I had the money for the plane ticket and a little bit of spending money. So yeah.
So you go to Shanghai. Is there a sense of relief? Like, yes, I did it. Is there a sense of apprehension? Like, what the hell have I got myself into? This is the first place you've been other than England. So what are the thoughts going through your mind when you get off that plane into Hong Kong airport, I'm guessing? Or was it Shanghai?
It was Shanghai.
Yeah,
it was
sense.
Shanghai. My layover was in Amsterdam.
Oh, yeah. So you were able to relax then?
She forgot about the whole flight.
it was a short layover. I had to stay in the airport. But my feelings of apprehension, I didn't have any. The thing is about me is I tend to delay negative feelings until after a situation has happened, or like a couple of weeks later. So my focus was just getting there and navigating to the hotel and grappling with the currency.
You mean literal currency?
Literal currency, because I didn't understand how the currency worked. I went to McDonald's and gave the cashier, for instance, the equivalent to 5p, but I saw it was a note. I can't remember the note.
That's suspect.
I was like, oh, I want to order a burger.
Come here.
The cashier literally just looked at their co-worker and just started laughing and tried to communicate to me in Chinese that, yeah, that's not the note. We don't want that note. I think about that, it's I think it's what is it? Is it called Mao? You know the dead. Kevin, you know that dead note? I don't know if...
Mate, I just spend money.
You just spend money.
Is it pink? Is it red? Is it green? Is it blue?
Do they have coins?
They have coins. So it's the really tiny coins, Kevin, but they sometimes come in notes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Currency there.
It is.
微信吗?
没有.
What's that mean?
So 微信吗 is like WeChat. Can I pay on WeChat?
Oh, that thing.
And Mayo was like, I don't have.
I don't have. 我没有钱. I don't have money. Oh yeah, sorry, I felt like I went on a tangent.
No, it's alright. So what I want to ask you as well though is, so you said you're grappling with paying bills, you're grappling with the currency.
Yeah.
The initial apprehension was to do with confidence. So every time you're there and every time you're getting these things, granted you paid the guy 5p when you should have paid more. Every time you're going through it, are you building on that confidence? Is that something that you're thinking about, or is it just you're taking each day as it comes?
I'm taking each day as it comes. I don't really notice the confidence, like my confidence increasing until I'm put in that position another time. So
let's talk about that.
So
what's the next time?
So the next time would be Hong Kong.
Okay.
So Hong Kong, funny story about Hong Kong actually. Again, I should have researched the climate for Hong Kong. I didn't. I packed some jumpers. I basically didn't have... Actually, no, I didn't pack jumpers. That's a lie. I packed the opposite because I thought it was a warm country.
I'm sitting here still thinking it's a warm country. I'm confused.
No, in January, it's freezing.
Is it?
It feels freezing, even though it's warmer, temperature-wise than England at that time. But it's like the sea breeze almost. It's kind of catches you. So, yeah, I went there without a coat. I didn't really pack. I didn't pack properly at all. I packed as if I was going there for 2 weeks. I went there and literally within a week, I realised, No.
What was you there for?
Pardon?
What was you there for?
Hong Kong?
Yeah.
I studied at the University of Hong Kong for a semester abroad.
That's a risk.
Yeah, it was a risk.
How did you navigate that?
Wait, why is it a risk?
Well, studying abroad, again, you're on your own, you've got no support network.
I think it's cool. I think you gotta have like, I can swear, like, all big balls to do that. I couldn't be able to do it. At 19, I feel like I was young.
Bro,
I don't think I could do that.
I had the opportunity to go to Sweden for again a semester during my second year.
Yeah.
Didn't go, bottled it.
I was going to do a placement during uni and I didn't do it.
So what I'm asking you is, you know, what's going through your head? How are you navigating this? Because I've noticed throughout your journey and all these things you do, it's risks.
Yeah.
But they pay off.
Yeah.
They're valuable. They're worth it.
Yeah.
But they're still scary. So
Yeah.
how do you deal with that?
How do I deal with
Did you say yes and just say, fuck it?
Fuck it, let's just do it.
Basically.
That's a good mindset to have.
No, I did say yes and just do it. I had nothing to lose. I think in all of these situations that I've taken big risks, I've had nothing to lose at all.
And everything to gain.
And everything to gain. You know, if China, my time in Shanghai, for instance, if that fell through, I had like £1,500 in the bank. You know? With Hong Kong, if that fell through, because with the Hong Kong visa, you have to show that you have, back then, I think it was about at least £3,000 in your account before you could get your visa. So I saved like crazy for that. I still can't believe to this day that I managed.
You have to show 3K in your balance
Yeah,
for the visa.
yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, to get a student visa, just to show that you're able to support yourself. And even though I could show that student finance will, you know, give me money, and that wasn't enough. So yeah.
So on that, with Hong Kong, you're studying now. You're not just there to learn a language and sort of get by.
Yeah.
What's it like studying in Hong Kong?
Well, the lucky thing about Hong Kong is that the country draws a lot from the UK still.
Yeah, being a former colony makes sense.
Yeah. So even the road signs and stuff. So I'm not saying that it looks identical to, you know, like London or...
I think it looks very London.
Oh, yeah.
The underground, the buses, the road signs.
Road signs, yeah.
I think so.
Road signs. I'm thinking more of the outskirts of Hong Kong Island.
I'm a city boy.
Like Kowloon and those areas. Those areas outside of Hong Kong Island, they don't look...
Shout out Hong Kong as well, just personally.
Yeah, they don't look as British as other places. It looks like a blend, more like.
So, studying there, was it because it's so linked to England? It was, you know, not really out of the ordinary for you.
It wasn't out of the ordinary.
Okay.
No.
So let's fast forward to the last place you visited, China.
China.
That comes to an end. We both leave at pretty much the same time.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole story about how we got to China and living in a hotel for 3 months and whatever else. But that's probably a story for another day, to be honest with you. But we leave China now. Mm-hmm. What's going through your head at this period of time? Because you've done, you know, however many years on the bounce of travelling, being here, being there. Yeah. And I think we both pretty much agreed that, okay, now it's time to start real life.
Yeah.
What are the thoughts going through your mind? What's the next step for you?
So the next step was initially to return to university to do my master's in global urban planning and development.
In order to achieve?
Well, in order to try and get a job. Because I realised that my undergraduate degree wasn't sufficient enough. So I wanted to get a degree that would enable me to get a better paying job potentially. And I thought planning, like that sector would.
Your degree was in politics and was it modern
history, yeah.
Why wasn't it sufficient for a role or?
Well,
what type of job were you looking for?
So I did want to do development. I did want to work in that sector.
Mm-hmm.
However, with development, there's a lot of you need to have experience.
Mm.
And
I hate that word.
and what's worse is a lot of that experience is often unpaid.
Standard.
And
That's they get you.
quick question.
Yeah.
Who benefits from a requirement being experience, most of which is unpaid?
Well, the company or the charity.
The company, but also there's, those who are from higher income backgrounds.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So
generally
those,
benefit as well,
yeah. So also, I'd like to add that I'm from a low income background as well. So a lot of these endeavors, I didn't have the financial support of my family.
Yeah.
So again, with development, I realized, okay, I can't afford to do this career. So I,
Which is mad, by the way.
It's mad. It's mad. It is crazy. It is heartbreaking.
Imagine how many people they miss out on that could do a really good job.
It's an industry where, okay, now you're not going to have much diversity in people, but also not much diversity in thought, etc. And that's really, damaging.
Yeah. And there's also issues in development in terms of bureaucracy and stuff like that. But that's another.
So you were trying to get in anyway via this master's.
So I was trying to get in, but I was So I thought, let me do urban planning because I was interested in spatial inequality.
What does that mean?
So that means basically, how you can have one area of like a city that has a lot of infrastructure, that has that's close to loads of doctors or even supermarkets and stuff, and has excellent transport links. And then you've got another part of the city that doesn't have that, and that's even more prominent in developing countries,
Favelas, etc.
Yeah, areas like that. But it is also common in England.
Yeah.
Especially in the major cities. So I wanted to get into planning as a way to investigate that and contribute to decreasing that inequality. So, and it was also a safer way of making money in my mind. It was a safe career path. Yeah. However, with planning, again, you've got the experience, you don't have experience, then it's hard to get your foot in the door.
And everyone that was willing to give you experience was unpaid, pretty much.
Yeah, and even getting experience, because I entered planning so late in the game, even getting experience was hard because I didn't have experience in the first place. So imagine you need experience to get experience. Almost.
That makes sense.
The whole that experience to get experience is crazy.
Yeah.
The whole concept of that.
Yeah. So very quickly within my master's degree, I realized, okay, I fell into that trap of experience.
So how's that making you feel while you're completing this degree? Does it feel futile? Does it feel like it's going to get you nowhere? How is the master's? Is it challenging? Is it easy?
So the master's was very interesting. And I mean genuinely interesting.
Right.
Like, not like... It was interesting because I learned how... I learned how countries... So, just to break it down. So there was the planning side, which focused on the UK, right?
Yeah.
And the UK planning system. And then there was the development side that focused on planning in the developing world, community planning at that. So what I found really interesting was how communities, without support from the local governments, were able to build infrastructure such as flood defense walls with tires and just different stuff in order to cope with the poverty that
they're resourceful.
Yeah, they're resourceful. Yeah. So that was really, that part of it was really interesting. The planning system in the UK, that was, I can't tell you anything about that to this day. It's boring. But that's just seeing how, you know, communities that are poor, how they come together and how they use the resources they have to better their community. It was really inspiring, and it totally demolished my concept of the developing world as being hopeless almost, you know, because they're not. They do survive. They do what they have to do, you know, and they are resourceful, they are talented, you know, they've built their own economies without the need of backing from their government, from their central or local government, even in the face of, what's the word? Even in the face of hostility from the police, they've still managed to do it. So yeah.
So one thing that struck me when you were talking about the masters, you're talking about safety of income.
Yeah.
And if you go in a career like this, it creates safety for you. And
Yeah.
first question is that something you've looked for or you've hoped for throughout your life?
It is definitely something that I've hoped for throughout my life. My childhood, we didn't have much money, and thus financial insecurity was a big shadow in my life. And I always wanted to make enough money so that, you know, I don't have to worry about food on the table or having a roof over my head. So I wasn't really thinking of becoming rich. I just wanted security.
Yeah. So I definitely understand the financial safety aspect of what you're saying. But I think you always have a bit of a risk itch to scratch.
Yes.
So I see a little contradiction in seeking safety, and then we end up where we are now.
Yeah, there is a big contradiction, and oftentimes it's come to a head. Oftentimes I'm paralyzed from making a decision because of its financial implications. But, you know, once I rationalize that if it fails, I'm still going to be left with nothing. I have nothing. I'm still going to be left with nothing. It's like, you know, as we said earlier, F it.
So it's like a deal or no deal.
It's like deal or no deal, basically.
You will say, the bank will call up and say, I give you 100 grand for that box. And you say, no. I've got 1p and 250 grand left. I don't want 100 grand. I'm going to keep my box. Because I came here with nothing. I can either leave here with 1p or I can leave here with $250,000. You wouldn't take the 100 grand, would you?
Ooh.
100 grand's a lot of money though.
Deal or no deal?
That's a tank of petrol nowadays.
Would you risk it?
I
don't know, man.
It depends on the...
To be honest,
I'd probably take the 100
I'm
grand.
taking that. Yeah.
to be honest, in that situation, I would probably take the 100k.
Sheban, I disagree, because how you do anything is how you do everything. I don't think you take the 100k.
I think I would take... No, I think I would. I think I would. If you put money in front of me, you know, 100k, and I have responsibilities especially, I think I would.
Alright. But yeah, alright, so give us the picture. What's your life like while you're doing this masters? Are you you've just done a few years abroad. Are you this cultured, confident lady who's strutting her stuff and living in a mansion?
So it was during COVID.
Okay.
So COVID hit in 2020.
And what does that do to you as a human being?
Well, I lost my job. So there was a lot of financial insecurity. Luckily, I managed to get another one quite soon, working at Tesco.
We know Tesco quite well in this podcast.
Shout out Tesco.
Yep.
You know, they basically, because I'm going to be quite honest, that initiative they did during COVID, employing me extra staff, it saved my life. It genuinely did. Shout out to Tesco. It genuinely did, because I don't think I couldn't have stayed in Manchester, first of all, and second of all, I wouldn't have been able to eat. So yeah, that was a blessing.
So let's track this back then, because you just mentioned Manchester. Now we're going to get back to these cities within England.
Yeah.
So you live or born in Walsall, right?
Yes.
That's fair to say. You're in Manchester for your degrees,
Yes.
both your undergrad and your postgrad.
Yes, correct.
And then we'll get to the other one later. So
Yeah.
carry on.
So,
So you're saying you're in Manchester, you're working in Tesco,
Yeah,
you're doing this masters.
Yeah, I'm in Manchester doing this masters. It was really hard because I was focused on working a lot of hours in Tesco so that I could build up an emergency fund just in case more stuff happens. COVID-20, because it was such an uncertain time. And I knew that I didn't have the finances behind me, you know, to buffer that. So I was just there saving. So I had to, with my masters, you know, that was no longer priority for me. So what I did with my masters was initially I just delayed my assignment due dates and stuff, you know, sent in the mitigating circumstances form, and it's like, give me more time. And they're like, yeah, sure, we give you, I think they gave me an extra month or something, or 2 months, I can't remember. But then, it, you know, just COVID and stuff, it just took a toll on my mental health, and I ended up taking a pause from my master's in 2021. Yeah.
So when you say it took a toll on your mental health, how are you feeling?
It was, well, I began to feel demotivated from my course. It was still interesting, but, you know, a part of me was there like, oh, you know, what's kind
There's
of
bigger fish to fry at this point in your brain.
Yeah, there's bigger fish to fry. I got to get this money.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what's going to happen the next, you know, couple of months, the next day. I just got to get this money.
I feel like it lasted for like 2 years, didn't it?
It lasted, yeah.
That COVID period was just crazy.
It was crazy. It was. But I'm so grateful that, you know, I have to be careful how I say this, because I know that people have lost a lot of their loved ones. People have lost, you know, their mobility down to COVID. But I think that was where I experienced my most growth. I think during COVID was the time where I grew into a woman, if you understand.
What was that growth? I don't understand.
I know. So, you know, like from a child to... So when I returned from China and went straight into university, I was still in a bubble, in a sense,
What
right?
was that bubble?
Bubble of security, in terms of I saw education, I saw university as a comfort blanket.
I know a lot of people do as well.
Yeah. And, you know, in some ways, you still have responsibility as a university student, but you're not out in the real world. But COVID forced me to prioritize the real world over the academic world, you know? So, you know, focusing on, you know, just trying to accumulate money, having real issues above my head, you know, it forced me to grow up, in a sense. So that period of COVID forced me to, grow up, basically.
So being forced to grow up and seeing the academic world as different to the real world, what does that make you? What are your reflections now on your master's? Like, does it hold the same importance that it did at the start?
No.
Right.
No, I feel like I do regret, I don't feel like I do regret taking my master's, but then I know for a fact that if I hadn't have taken my master's, I wouldn't be where I am today.
So let's get to where you are today. I need an award for all these segues, by the way. Let's get to where you are today.
All right.
Sheban, we have a call. It might be a series of messages and then a call.
Yeah.
Basically, I've seen this opportunity. I think I should take it. Blah, 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 blah. How do you see it? Where do you see it? What do you see? Let's go.
All right. So, when was it? August or September Ooh.
So this is after all the degree, you got your master's.
I actually didn't get my master's.
You didn't.
This is gonna be it's gonna be an interesting story. Yeah,
Okay,
sit up.
let's go.
So, oh, you're gonna play about the sound? Right. Okay. So during my time off uni, because I took a break, deferred a year.
Is this 2021?
Yes, 2021.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say September 2021. September 2021. It was a random night. I had insomnia, and I was just on the internet. Oh wait, yeah. Oh, I should probably go back a bit. I will go back a bit later, actually. But anyway, I'll explain what's led me to where I am. But this is the immediate opportunity. So, right. It's a night of insomnia. I'm just scrolling down. Previous to that, to occupy my mind, I started coding. Well, teaching myself how to code, program.
Wait, how did you get there?
There's a gap there.
No, you can't just go there. There is something that triggered that.
Okay. So, we're we're reversing back in time. All right. So, okay. Before the opportunity, right? Let's start there. Before the opportunity, I was thinking about doing my dissertation, start planning for my dissertation, even though I was currently on a break from uni, because I had my dissertation and 2 other modules left to do when I took my break. So one of my dissertation ideas was to see if there was a correlation between access to green spaces, so that's like parks, more parks, green areas, to low income areas. And one of the ways that can be graphed is using a software called ArcGIS. ArcGIS is a software that basically makes those beautiful coloured maps you see on the news for instance, with COVID, the maps would show the hotspots in different colours. So yeah, and one of the features of ArcGIS is that you can automate a lot of its data processing with Python.
Okay.
I've heard about Python.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a programming language.
Yeah.
So I decided to teach myself Python for that purpose, to be able to do that. Thank you.
That's not easy then.
So to be able to do that for my dissertation. To be honest, I was taking baby steps. I had no idea what I was doing.
How did you teach yourself? YouTube videos, apps?
So I taught myself through books.
Oh,
so there are 2.
You went old school.
There's a lot of resources online. Yeah. A lot of amazing resources. But what I found useful were 2 books. So the first one was Learn Python the Hard Way by Zed Shaw. That got me acquainted with the syntax of Python, like how it's written. And then the next one was Python Crash Course, which, forgive me, I've forgotten the author, which guided you through the basic functionality of Python, what you can do with it. So I was doing that, and to be honest, I was going very slowly. So fast forward to September 2021. Again, I'm in my bed. It's like 7 a.m. Hadn't slept all night, just because, insomnia. Just scrolling through. I did have in the back of my mind the idea of pursuing programming, like software engineering, as a possible career path. But I still was in the mindset of, I have to complete my master's at that stage. So I came across a boot camp called the School of Code. The School of Code is a boot camp that offers 20 weeks free training.
Oh, is it free?
It's free, yeah, to become, a full stack developer. And I'll get into what that means a bit later. And I saw the opportunity and I thought, why not? When I applied, I just wanted to see whether or not I'd make it to the interview stage.
Because again, you don't ever think you do. You will. Yeah,
exactly. So I thought, if I get to the interview stage and I fail, that's not a big deal because I'm not expecting to succeed anyway, and I would have gained experience in interviews and stuff.
Is that some sort of coping mechanism, do you think?
It is a coping mechanism. I don't like to put my hopes up. I don't like to do that because I don't want to be disappointed. So I always lower my expectations right to the ground, even though, to another person it looks like, it's gonna go through, it's gonna work, it's gonna happen. I'm like, nah, it's not. That's not.
So how did the interview go?
The interview, I thought I flunked the interview. So, funny story, actually, another funny story. The guy who was interviewing me, we went to the same school in Warsaw.
Okay.
Not only that, we knew the same people.
You got the job. Yeah, that's what it was.
And he was in the year below me. So funnily enough, I remembered all his friends but him.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I remember you, bro.
We didn't remember each other, but
okay.
When I said where I was from, which was Warsaw, he's like, I went to Warsaw. Which school? And I was like, Queen Mary's Grammar. I was like, I went there. What year? Like, oh my gosh.
That's crazy, isn't it?
So yeah, that was crazy. I think that was one of the moments where my intuition, even though my brain was like, we're not gonna get this, my intuition was like, you've probably got this in the bag.
So just to be clear, your mind was telling you no, but your body was telling you yes?
If you didn't know, you just did.
Cancel him.
Let's move on.
I'm kidding. Yeah, basically. But yeah, that's funny. But the interview, I thought, despite that, it went a bit left because the interviewer asked me a question and they asked me one of those logical questions.
Okay.
So logical reasoning questions.
Okay.
But they said it to me verbally. They didn't have the question on the screen.
Have you got a slight
if you understand?
Yeah, what was the question?
Don't worry if you haven't, it's fine, we can move on.
The question, I can remember.
I'll tell you what, should we do it for the bonus episode? We'll find one.
Yeah, because there's so many. One comes up about McDonald's.
Is it one of them like scenario ones? What would you do?
Yes, a scenario. Well, it was more like if I don't know, if Lucy was on the train at 2 p.m. but it was delayed by 40 minutes, and then her boyfriend went, I don't know, to Canterbury. When did Bob catch the flight to Vegas?
I don't know.
Not like that. Like those type of questions where you're like, wait, what? But when you
piece things together.
Yeah, you've got to piece things together, basically.
Haven't passed any of them.
That's an extreme example. It doesn't make any sense coming from me, but it had all the components to make sense. But yeah, that was one of the questions, and because logical reasoning I felt wasn't my forte, I kind of buckled a bit. I was like, and I also hadn't prepared for that type of question, so I was like, oh crap, I'm not prepared. I did answer it the best I could. Well, answered them rather, and then in October that's when I received the news that I was accepted.
So first of all, well done. That's huge.
Amazing.
Yeah, the School of Code, becoming a member of that is big news.
Shout out to School of Code as well.
Yeah, man. Appreciate them as always. What's the implications of being in the School of Code? What does that mean for the other elements of your life? What do you have to do in order to participate fully in the School of Code?
So, which one should I start with? Because the School of Code was a full-time boot camp, I had to reduce my hours at Tesco.
From what to what?
So I was doing about 24 because things had calmed down financially, so I could just do part-time hours. So I reduced it from 24 to 12. Luckily, because again, I'd be, as I said previously, I was just, I was saving in case of a financial emergency. I had enough of an emergency fund to fund me, to subsidize my payslip, rather. So I would still be getting a similar income, even though I was working for 12 hours. So yeah, I took the cut of hours, and I started the School of Code. However, I quickly realized that in order to survive mentally, because, doing any form of boot camp is stressful, but a coding boot camp, you're learning 4 years worth of stuff in a matter of months. So you're moving at such a fast pace. So I was mentally exhausted throughout my time there, but especially when I was working. So you think 12 hours is nothing. 4 hours on Thursday, 8 hours on a Sunday. So, to normal people who have not experienced being in a coding boot camp, they'd be like, that's easy. And I know certain members of certain boot campers did do that. Certain boot campers still worked. But I couldn't do it because I realized that I would be coming exhausted to my lessons at the boot camp, and it just wasn't working.
So to be clear, you quit your masters as well, right?
Yeah. So I quit my masters. So what happened with my masters was, because I had already deferred a year, I wasn't able to defer another year. So I was told, well, I wasn't really told, but it was obvious that there was a decision to make. Either I stop the School of Code, no longer pursue that opportunity, to finish my masters and then reapply the next year, or I just drop my masters and go full steam ahead with the boot camp.
So I want to set the scene. You've quit your masters.
I've quit my masters.
The reason you're in Manchester. The bills are still there.
The bills are still there.
You quit the 12 hours at Tesco because it's just too difficult to cope.
Yeah.
And you go ahead with the School of Code. That's a massive risk.
Yeah.
That's a massive risk.
Yeah.
And you do it. What's the boot camp like?
The boot camp is like a fire hydrant being broken, like a fire hydrant of information being smashed and directed at you. You're just drowning in information. You also have to learn how to think differently, because when you program, there's a way that you have to think. You have to, because a computer is dumb. That's what you learn very quickly. So you have to literally code for every single thing. If you want, for instance, and we take this for granted as normal people. For instance, when you go onto Google, right, and you type, you type something to search, and you press enter, you have to code. Like, the person who's developing that search engine will have to code for the search engine to work when the user presses enter. It's not something that the computer automatically knows.
Mm.
If you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you literally, there's been times where I've, done some projects and I'm like, oh, why doesn't the computer know what I want it to do? But it turns out that I haven't written the code for it to do that.
You haven't told the computer.
Yeah, basically.
So how long is it taking for those sorts of principles to embed in you?
It's still an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Because it's so natural just to think that, a computer knows everything. Like it's basically a dead weight if you think about it. It's just if you don't code for it, it won't do it.
That's mad.
Biggest challenge at the boot camp?
Biggest challenge of the boot camp. Whew. That's a great question. Keeping up with the curriculum in my own time. Because with the boot camp, you do have to allocate at least an hour after sessions to reviewing the content.
Mm-hmm.
But because the sessions were so intense, I personally was often quite tired afterwards and exhausted. So I was a bit not lapse. I did try, but that was hard. I think that's a common struggle with most boot campers though, keeping up with the curriculum, because you feel like you're not making as much progress as you should. But at the same time, especially with my boot camp with the School of Code, they really emphasized that what we are learning right now, it's okay if we don't get it right now, because we will get it in time. We will get it once we get into our jobs.
Yeah.
Because the position we were aiming for, that was junior, entry-level software engineer, not mid-level, not senior, and junior software engineers that come into the game. Organizations, companies already know that they're not going to know anything. Almost, So it was just at least being able to code something, no matter how terrible it looked. That was kind of the goal in terms of with the boot camp, just getting us used to the concepts around programming and stuff. Because I'm gonna be honest, those YouTube videos that you see that promote, you can learn to code in 3 months. That's cap. Straight up cap.
I was saying the same thing. I was like, you see so many adverts like, join us and you can learn how to code and earn 100K a year.
Nah. It's a process, man. It's a process.
And I think it's like any other job. Obviously, you can learn so much, but once you're in the field, you're always going to learn and develop your skills, aren't you?
Yeah. And also, there's so many technologies out there. You're always constantly learning
and
with
everything's
programming.
changing all the time, isn't it?
Yes, everything's changing. So don't believe anyone that says you can learn to code in 3 months.
There you have it, guys.
Yeah, because I see some TikTok videos of a guy who's been coding for 10 years. He still Google stuff to find like, this code or how to do this.
Yes.
Because
you're not expected to remember every single thing. You're not expected to remember every single
Because it's a whole different language, isn't it?
It's a whole different language. But in order to become a successful programmer, you need to understand the concepts behind why, for instance, a certain piece of software or like certain feature is written in a certain way. If you kind of catch my drift.
Yeah, I guess whatever the end project is, you need the beginning, the little middle bit, and then the end. I guess, is that how it works, or?
Yeah, but when I mean concepts, I mean concepts such as, let me think of a very easy one. For you. Concepts such as conditionals. So conditionals.
If statements.
If statements, yes.
Wow.
Someone's accordion.
Hey, come on. Excellent.
How you would use those. So, yeah, you can write them, right? you can write them if the user doesn't select the correct button, and tell them to select the right button, you know. But then that can be applied to different situations. You know, it's sometimes the problems you are given as a programmer are not clear cut. So the concepts you learn with the tools you learn, you use them to solve the problem. If you understand what I mean.
So I want to rewind a quick sec. You mentioned about how the boot camp is intense, and it's you know, if it's intense for you, I'm going to take it as intense for everyone.
Yeah.
Is there anything within the boot camp, because it's a virtual boot camp as well, to be clear?
Yes,
You're not anywhere. You're not. There's no.
It's not in a classroom.
No, you're not in a classroom. There's no collegiateness between any of you. You're on your own. As soon as that laptop closes, it's like stress. So, is there anything within that boot camp, within the School of Code, that supports you through what is inevitably a tough journey?
Yes, and I'm glad we've
I love the School of Code, man.
Yes, there is. They had an amazing mentorship program also, where people from the industry volunteer their time to to mentor us boot campers once a week for an hour, more if needs be. I was incredibly blessed with 2 mentors. So the first mentor, she was assigned to me automatically, and funnily enough, I had seen her because she went to the School of Code before me, like a couple of years before me. And when I was researching the School of Code, I saw her video, and I thought to myself, oh, if I get in, I'd want to be like her, because she works in security. So I was like, I want to be like her. And then when I get into the boot camp and I start, I'm assigned her as she's assigned to me as my mentor. Shout out to Manu.
Big up Manu.
Honestly, she's such a lovely woman. She was phenomenal because she would create little workshops for me in order to go through stuff that I didn't understand. She also managed to get me into Sky for a day, Sky Studios in London. So I shadowed her for a day, and shout out to Sky as well. So I'm really grateful for that.
She didn't need to do this, did she?
She didn't. She went above. She went above and beyond. She genuinely did.
I love people like that.
Shout out Sky if you want to sponsor our Sky Box.
I feel like she did it because she was in the same position as you one day, and there probably wasn't someone like that to help her, and then she probably thought, I need to give back in it. I really like people like that. She's lovely. She's lovely. I appreciate her.
Where's she from, really?
She's from Brazil.
Right. So did you say something? I don't know how you say hello in Brazilian. Portuguese, isn't it?
It's I only know bom dia, which is like good morning or good day.
So is that what you open the email? Bom dia.
No, that's cringe. That's cringe.
I love it, man.
That's cringe. Oh my god.
Yeah, blocked, bro.
No.
Did you bond eventually over Brazil? That's just out of interest.
Yeah, we bonded. That was when we first met, and I said, I went to Brazil. She was like,
so how important are the mentors?
Very. Sorry. They were very important. Her and my other mentor, well, I adopted him as my mentor, Nadeem. So,
shout out Nadeem as well.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Shout out Nadeem, man. If you like, didn't get no love, man.
shout out to him. He wasn't even my mentor. He was my friend Craig, who was also in the boot camp. He was his mentor, and he has been mentoring for the School of Code for a long time. I think from round about the start. Could be wrong. And he helped my team during project week, which is when we were given a problem and we had to develop a full stack web application for it in 4 weeks.
I don't know what full stack is.
Full stack.
Okay, so full stack. So thank you. So full stack means you've got different types of software engineers and developers. You've got ones who work on the front end. So the front end is what you, the user, see when you go onto the website.
Facebook login page.
Yeah, or the user interface.
Okay.
So whether it's a website or if you go onto, I don't know, Word, that's what you see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Backend deals with it's behind the scenes. So, for instance, you log into Twitter, you press enter. The backend deals with basically processing that information that you've put into Twitter, matching it up with the records they have of you, with the records of Twitter, that the information that Twitter has on you, matching that up. And what did you want to say? Anything?
No, I'm just gonna say, if you're interested in Twitter, akhi&saltfish on Twitter, or akhi&saltfish on Instagram, at Before Our Friends Die Pod on Instagram. Make sure you check us out, give us a follow, and also if you're enjoying the podcast and you've got any questions for Sheban or any of our other guests or even us, please do email akhi&saltfish@gmail.com and we can get those questions across and answer them live on our pod. So, Sheban, carry on.
Thank you.
That just made me like that. Have you ever seen that video of Sniper out on all digital platforms?
Yeah. Oh, what's his name?
What's his name? Funny guy.
Castillo,
yeah. Imagine he was doing a pod, yeah, and then randomly, obviously he's a rapper, and he'd be like, the question would be like, oh yeah, how you been doing today? He'd be like, yeah, it was a good day, blah blah. Platform, and then he'd just promote his song every 5 minutes.
That's funny.
Sniper out on all digital platforms. Anyway, back to topic,
as I was saying, at the back end, it just processes the information that you put into the user interface, and also deals with the requests you send to the database. So if you want to look at, I don't know, Beyonce's Twitter profile, the back end will process that information and send to your computer, her page, with her photos and, did I say Twitter or Instagram? Same difference.
Yeah.
That information. So that's basically it. And then the full stack developer does both.
Front end and back end.
Front end and back end work.
Right. Yeah. Because in my head, full stack relates to bodybuilding, and a stack is all the drugs that the bodybuilders take to get hench.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how different industries have similar language, but obviously they mean completely different
things. Is that the
things.
highest position you can be then, a full stacker, or is that?
It's not I wouldn't say it's a position per se. It's just a type of developer.
Is that what you are?
I am trained to be full stack. In my job, I'm trying to pivot into back end.
Pivot, look at them languages.
Trying to pivot into back end engineering. Although it is advised when you start off that you should be open to anything. So be open to front end work and be open to back end work and other little stuff. But I want to be a back end engineer.
Kamal's got bad jokes. He's looking at me, but
you're disgusting.
He's looking at me.
I have no jokes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, full stackers make peas, bro.
Yeah, how much you talking?
Do you know why? They I've done a few accounts for these contractors who are in all these IT. Good day rate, mate.
Let's talk.
Like I'm saying, like 5-6 bills a day,
bro.
Could be more.
I was at work the other day,
Yeah.
And this guy came in to do a talk, and 3 talks. So says my colleague who employed him, how much did you pay him for the day? About £500?
Mad.
I could do that. I could do everything he did. I could do it.
Probably better as well.
No, I'm not gonna throw him under the bus, right?
Yeah.
I could do that. So don't be surprised if Rachel goes into full stack developing and I go.
Hey, you see me at School of Code tomorrow. Right?
So okay, I really appreciate your insight into the School of Code, Sheban. I want to delve into you a little bit more and how you link up with the School of Code. So are there any qualities within you that you feel make you adept, I should say, for coding?
Eagerness to learn.
Right.
Because you are constantly learning. As a software engineer, you have to constantly learn in order to be good at your job, in order to progress.
Why?
Because technology is changing all the time, and sometimes the company you work for might want to change software or use different programming languages, because programming languages, there's, depending on which one you choose to solve the problem at hand, they all have their pros and cons.
Yeah.
So, for instance, some are more robust in the sense of you won't have to deal with type issues. So, just brief context, there are different data types in there's different data types in programming that we all have to grapple with. So there's strings, which is basically a bunch of characters, right? There's there's numbers, which say what it says on the tin. That's what it says on the tin. And then there's booleans, which is true or false.
Okay.
And some programming languages, such as JavaScript, you can very easily manipulate those. How to explain it? You can very easily, for instance, if what we perceive to be a number, right, that can be passed through as a string, right? So yeah, it's very.
I feel like we're in the boot camp now.
I need to sleep after this, bro.
So I wish I had like a whiteboard to show you. So there's like the string number 1, and then there's number 1.
Okay.
And the number 1 is like a number.
Okay.
The string is just a character.
Doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything.
So you can make it mean anything you want.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just became a coder.
Where's my new?
No. Yes. Yeah. In JavaScript, yes. If you don't specify what data type you want that number 1 to be, sometimes JavaScript will be like, oh, okay, so what do you want me to do with this? Oh, okay, so it looks like a number. It is a number, and that can cause bugs.
Is that why run Java on a computer? Do you know when you can block it or something like that? Because it always crashes or something. I don't know. That could be the same.
No. Java and JavaScript are two different things. It's not that.
Said, you are dumb.
You are dumb. No.
They're two different. They're two different languages.
I just got to look like. What is that, girl?
Man, get out of here, man.
No. It's more when you're coding and you've got to evaluate user input. So if someone is if you've got a form asking for someone's phone number.
Yeah.
Right?
07.
They're typing in the phone number, right?
Yeah.
With JavaScript, it can, depending on how you code, it can read that as just a string of characters or as a number. Or as a number.
Sure, I've clocked it. Listen, see when the pieces fell together. Smart.
I'm kind of lost though.
Okay, an easy example would be a calculator, right? I'm creating a mini project, a calculator.
Yeah.
The user puts 3, 4, to do 3 plus 4.
3 plus 4 is 7. 2 plus 2, that's 4, quick math.
Sometimes JavaScript would read the 3 and the 4 as strings. So instead of doing a mathematical operation, so instead of doing 3 plus 4, which is 7.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow, that was hella slow.
Yeah, I had that meme in my head,
21?
21? So I had that meme in my head.
What's that
plus
21?
21? I had it in my head. So I was like, oh, God.
I wish you said 21.
21. But yeah, so sometimes JavaScript can read that as 2 strings. So instead of adding them together to make 7, sometimes it just joins them together as if it's one word. So you get 34.
So,
but with a number, it's like, oh, that's a number. That's a number. But that depends on how you code. You have to make sure that the code you write can clock that's a number.
So what I'm getting from what you're saying then is you can't take anything for granted in coding. You have to be explicit.
You have to be very explicit.
Which requires a level of attention to detail.
Attention to detail, which
perhaps obsessive.
obsessive. That quality I'm still developing.
You think so? Yeah. Okay.
Is coding, especially in coding, yes.
But yet here you are with a job in the
Yes,
field.
of course.
So there's hope.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm not an attention to detail person. But in coding, it's next level attention to detail. So that's what I'm trying to develop.
So when you started coding, did you, let me rephrase that question, sorry. At the end of coding, was there some sort of final project what you had to deliver?
Yes.
Okay. So when you started coding, how far were you from being able to deliver that final project which you eventually did? Like, how much did you grow in the space of those 16 to 20 weeks?
I grew so much. Shout out to Easy Scrum, Easy Go, which was the team.
Easy Scrum, Easy Go, yeah.
Easy Scrum, Easy Go.
Them agile workflows there.
Ooh, look at Kavan. But yeah, I came a long way, because before, when I was learning Python, I kind of understood what, like, the fundamentals of Python, sort of, but I didn't make big projects. I hadn't done anything with it. I was still in the learning stage. Whereas by the time, with the boot camp, I came into the boot camp with that rudimentary knowledge of Python, which did help for the first week only. And then the weeks after, it was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? So, but yeah, I definitely came a long way. But when we reached project month, I already was able to set up a database online.
What does that mean?
So it means that I was able to configure and create a space on the internet. So you know it as a cloud, but I was able to make a space on a cloud platform to store user data and to run queries on that data.
So how is that applicable for people like Rachel and I? What is that? Is that Twitter? Is that Instagram?
That's Twitter.
Right.
That's Twitter. That's Instagram.
Cool.
So you'll basically.
What data? Like name, date of birth?
Like stuff like that. Name.
How about my passwords?
Passwords.
The passwords in there.
Are passwords ever secure?
That's a no.
That's a
no.
No. It depends. It depends on how well the database was set up.
Right.
Because you can very easily hack a database to get.
Could you hack?
I can't hack, but if it's
that's what a hacker would say.
But if someone has written, not written, but if someone has developed a database
that's weak in the back.
End. It's easy to hack.
That's crazy. You know?
So Sheban, what was your final project? What did you create?
So my team and I created what did we create? We created a platform called WeShare. It was a hypothetical platform. So the idea behind it was people could exchange skills for skills. So kind of like, Kavan, you know how to play the piano, right?
I can teach you one.
Barely.
Barely. So you know how to play the piano. I know how to cook. Let's exchange skills.
Sheban, I lived with you for a year. You can't cook.
I can't cook. He is right. Well, I can cook now, but back then it was terrible.
I can code.
I can code. So that was our website. So all our website did was it displayed courses to the user. The user could also sign up to our website and enroll. Not enroll. Well, I already said enroll in courses. So C courses, enroll in courses.
It's like Skillshare.
Skillshare, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Skillshare, yeah, basically Skillshare. I think it was
Skillshare.
Kind of.
So
but you don't pay.
You leave with what? You finish the School of Code, and what do you leave with?
I leave with.
Reason I ask is because I don't know. I'm assuming I've never applied for a job in this field, right? But I'm assuming they're asking for some level of entry criteria, or is it experience they're looking for? That crucial word again.
So with the School of Code, they have a recruitment phase.
Right.
So for 3 months, they give you not like they give you jobs. Like here's a job for you.
You get a job. You get a job.
Yeah. You get a job.
For 3 months, they help you with recruitment. So they have partners who contribute to running the boot camp. These partners will.
Oh, okay. That's how the School of Work works.
Yeah.
Code.
These partners will open up vacancies for us only.
Right.
That's good.
We'd apply, and we get the job or not, and that application process is usually shortened for us as well.
It's a little fast track.
It's a fast track, yeah.
Right. And so you finished School of Code.
Mm-hmm.
How many organisations are you applying for before you end up where you are now? And we'll keep that bit quiet, but how many do you go to?
I lost count.
So it is a lot then. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It was a lot.
I think it's a big field, isn't it? Everyone's applying.
Yeah.
I think there's a.
Yeah, I mean the partners. So I couldn't apply for jobs outside of what the School of Code partners were offering because there's a 3 months clause there. That's how they make their money.
Because they get paid by the.
They get paid by the
you.
yes.
What was that?
So Sheban, it's like for instance.
In that 3 months, you can't apply for a job.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can't apply for a job outside of what jobs they have.
Oh, okay. Got ya. So you have to wait an extra 3 months in theory.
As in, I was still applying for jobs within that 3 month period, but it was only jobs that the School of Code were promoting.
And did you know this at the start?
Yes.
So even then, that's a risk of saying, like, if I don't get a job within those 3 months, I'm up against it. But okay, you took that risk.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big risk, and it was always in the back of my mind. I was always panicking that, what if I, don't get a job? Because what do I do now?
So compared to other jobs that you've applied for, is the recruitment process for these software engineering roles any different?
Yes, different.
Did they give you a task?
So, yeah, well, some of them did. So, one company gave me a take-home test. Mm-hmm. So I had about 2 days to
Google the answers.
kind of to do a programming test that they could assess my level. Another one hosted hackathons. So
sick.
A hackathon is basically it's usually a day or a couple of days where developers come together and they create a project. It's usually quite a creative process.
Oh, I thought you guys just hacking shit.
No. It's quite a creative process.
Anonymous.
And sometimes, it's kind of like, just code what you want and see what you develop in 3 days. Others, it's like, we want you to develop a website for a weather website that tells people the weather. When they go on.
Sick over the last couple of days.
It's hot.
It's hot. Yeah. So those hackathons tend to, when they are used in the assessment, as for assessment purposes, they are not only used to test your skills, but they are also used to test how you work well with other people. And how you tackle problems that are just put on you.
So, I always like to piece things together, Sheban.
Yes.
And that last bit you said to me, I'm just thinking you've got bundles of experience. And again, we talk about the lack of experience earlier in this conversation. Yeah. You've lived in foreign countries working with people who are challenging, to say the least, right? So you've got that experience of working with people who are complete strangers, but getting a good result in the end of it. Yeah. So all that experience, all those risks,
definitely
added up to mean that when you are in that room, oh my gosh, she's got something special. And that's what I believe happened.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, buddy. No, yeah, I would say that all my experiences, especially abroad, helped me get to where I am now. And in terms, not even just where I am, the ability of working with people. Because here's the thing with tech, right? Before there was a focus on skill set.
Yes.
So, do you know how to code? Well, of course of course you do have to know how to code, but it was more focused on, your proficiency in coding. Nowadays, because software engineering is now more collaborative, you work in teams, mostly, it's more soft skills, people skills.
Yeah.
Because the mindset is the company can teach you the skills, the technical skills that you need, right, to do the job, but they can't teach you soft skills.
Yeah, and I was reading up about Scrum teams, etc., and it was saying that there's 3 elements. You've got the product owner, a Scrum master, and then you've got the team, and all 3 elements manage themselves. So the team manages itself. The Scrum master doesn't manage the Scrum team. They manage themselves, and then obviously report to the Scrum master, who reports to the product owner, and that sort of thing. So being someone who can excel within a team and navigate that team is great, because there are no managers. You are all for one and one for all.
Well, within the team itself, you will have senior software engineers that do act like managers,
right?
And so it's not. I would say it's not totally it's not that a team is left to their own devices. There's still a level of management there, but you are about that kind of right.
So, all right, let's wrap this up, Sheban.
Sure.
What are your opportunities now versus what could they have been, and how do you reflect on that? Like, you've given yourself so many opportunities. We spoke about wanting that financial security.
Yeah.
You've opened up that door for that. How did that make you feel?
It was emotional, to be honest. I think when I got the job, right, I was happy. I was very happy, but I was also so sad, because I know that the risk I took, not only, the risk I took paid off, but I also know that not many people in my financial position
would do what you did.
Would do what I did.
It's almost like a survivor's guilt.
Yes, it's survivor's guilt, definitely. Because my future before taking that risk, maybe, probably I'd have left Tesco and worked like an admin job or something, but but the fact that I opened the door for basically me to earn a lot of money, it was just still something that I can't, it's hard to conceptualize.
And I think a couple of things, we can't really touch on Sheban's work due to the nature of that work. It is highly confidential, but she's got a great job in a great field where the potentials are endless.
We can say cyber security, can't we?
Yeah, you can say cyber security.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. The one thing I want to touch on as well, and we haven't touched on this at all throughout the whole conversation.
Yeah.
You are from a low income background.
Yeah.
But you're also a black woman.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
what?
I forgot about it.
You see colour?
Oh.
Yeah.
Sheban is a black woman in tech. Now, that is a whole nother layer, a whole nother dimension of your experience.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm sure you could tell me, what was your experience like as a black woman in tech? Let's keep this one,
My experience. So I haven't had any negative experiences so far.
Good. Representation?
What's that?
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Representation. At my job where I work, I'm trying to like spot where the black person are. Where y'all at?
Yo.
Where y'all at? Where you at though? There are people of colour at my work. But diversity is a big issue in tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Particularly, black people,
Yeah.
women, black women.
Yeah, definitely.
I can imagine the numbers show it's completely, a challenge. And again, that's some of the risks you're taking as well, going into an industry, knowing where you're underrepresented. That's huge.
But I also know that, my mentors, Manu and Nadeem, we're still in contact today, even though I've finished boot camp. They are people of colour in tech. Manu is I know Brazil's not a race. I know Brazilian is not a race, but she's brown. Yeah. She's brown Brazilian. You look at her and you don't see a white person, basically. And Nadeem is obviously, well, not obviously, an Asian brother. Come on. So I have those two behind me, and I also have another person. Shout out to Jay, works at The Economist, a black man.
Big J.
Yeah, black man in tech. I'm so proud.
That's a big J.
But them two in particular have their own experiences with diversity in terms of maneuvering. So if I do experience any issues, I can turn to them.
Do you know what? As well, I just think it's really. I'm really proud. I don't want to patronise you at all and say I'm proud of you, but it's hard, man. You
smashed it.
I
would never take that risk you did.
I sort of want to now. Having had this conversation, I sort of want to take that risk. I want to test myself, but I don't know. I don't know if I've got it in me. I don't know. Who knows? We'll have a conversation after. But I just think you've really set a great example for anyone who's listening to this, regardless of who they are, but particularly if they're a black woman, to say, no matter where you are right now, sometimes take that risk and see what happens. Because if you start with nothing and you finish with nothing, you're exactly where you were. But if you start with nothing and you get 10% of the way, that's a fantastic rise. And you've done way more than 10%.
I think you smashed it.
You've smashed open any of the glass ceilings that were in front of you, given your circumstances. And look, I think we just want to express our complete gratitude to you for joining us on this podcast. I can't find the right button.
I'm going to ask a quick question.
Go ahead, ask the question, bro.
Obviously, the day in the life you're coding, for example, I just put a full stop somewhere on your code. Does it mess up the whole
Yes, it does.
How long would it take you to find
She said that with Vim.
Because I know one little slash or whatever could just corrupt the whole code.
It depends how long the code base, as in the lines of code. If it's like a short code base, I probably could find it. It also depends on the amount of sleep I had the night before.
Full stop.
It's a full stop. That's happened. That's happened before, where I've missed a comma or something, and I'm just there for 3 hours. Like, why isn't this code working? And then I realize.
I just forgot.
I just forgot, or I misspelt something.
It's crazy, man.
Does that require humility? Because it seems like a very normal thing to just throw an exclamation mark in there, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
If someone else points that out, it must require some level of humility to say, thanks, rather than I was gonna see it. Do you know what I mean? Rather than getting
it does require humility.
But I bet it happens every day.
Yeah.
It does happen every day, but when you start off,
it happens a lot.
It's kind of like you already have a concept that you're an imposter,
right?
Especially when you're coming from a boot camp where you're learning things at such speed. There's always that doubt in your mind whether you know stuff or not. So when stuff like that happens, where you've misspelt something or you've put a full stop somewhere where it shouldn't be, sometimes it can just feed that imposter syndrome in you and just be like, oh, I'm an idiot.
And again, if we go back to the start of the conversation, the confidence. So over time, you build that resilience. Say, you know what? This is what a coder is. I am a coder, and we both have an affinity to James Clear, and embodying that.
That guy.
To be
embodying that identity of a coder is getting things wrong.
Yeah, you have to be comfortable with failure, because you fail all the time. Like, you will fail constantly. Developing stuff, building stuff.
This has been fantastic, man.
Yeah, it's been sick. I'm actually really happy for you, man.
Yeah. I feel like we've learned a lot. I feel like we've both got a lot of research to do, and a lot of coding to pursue.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people appreciate coding, man.
Nah.
We wouldn't have Instagram, we wouldn't have Twitter, Facebook, nothing, YouTube.
Nah.
I would also like to quickly say, I know this podcast is probably 5 hours long. I do apologise.
No, don't apologise.
I'd like to say that if anyone does work in, especially admin jobs, there's ways that you can develop, like that you can learn coding to automate your workflow.
Let's get into it. How can they do that?
So, especially when you're dealing with loads of spreadsheets and stuff, there's an excellent book called, and it's just slipped my mind. 1 second. I can just see it. Automate the boring stuff. It's called Automate.
Perfect timing.
It's called Automate the Boring Stuff. The author, I only remember his first name. His first name is Al. If you just Google Automate the Boring Stuff, it will come up. It's a yellow book, and that will teach admin workers and other people who are in desktops who deal with like spreadsheets and stuff, how they can automate their workflow. And that can either help you with, especially since everyone works from home now, you could probably do a process that usually takes you a couple of hours in a couple of minutes. So you could just sit there and chill for the rest of the day, or you could still do that and build up your skills coding and use those examples where you have automated your workflow in Tech and Diffuse. So, for example, if someone asks you, "I'll name me a project you've built," you can turn around and say, "Well, I built this, which reduced my work time by this amount, or saved my company a lot of money." That is very valuable. That experience in itself is very valuable and something to definitely add on your tech CV.
Well, let's say this. There's hope, right?
There's hope.
I think that's the message in the story. There's hope.
There's hope.
And there is reward when you take risks.
Yeah.
So please listen to this, and even if confidence is a challenge and you feel like you don't belong in a space, bash down those doors anyway, and seek support, because Sheban really highlighted the power of a mentor.
Yeah.
So.
I would also I'd also say that I was blessed to go on a boot camp. You can teach yourself how to code. It is possible. If you do teach yourself how to code, do realize that, of course, the journey will be more frustrating because you're kind of doing it on your own. But please make sure that you find a support system or like a mentor to help you, because that will be invaluable to your self-taught journey as a software engineer. Ooh.
Sheban, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on.
Look, that has been Before Our Friends Die on the Akhi&saltfish Digital Network. If you want to get in touch with us, please do visit Akhi&saltfish on Twitter or Akhi&saltfish on Instagram, and at Before Our Friends Die Pod on Instagram. Listen, we can be contacted akhi&saltfish@gmail.com. Ask us any questions, let us know how you're enjoying the show. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Akhi&saltfish Digital Network, but also please don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating if you're listening to this on any podcast platform, because it really, really helps us out with the algorithms. A little review wouldn't hurt either. If you want to get in touch with Sheban, what's your LinkedIn?
Sheb Saunders.
Yeah, so make sure you follow her on LinkedIn. And also, Sheban, quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple books, so let's give those books a quick shout out quickly.
So shout out to Learn Python the Hard Way.
Yeah.
Python Crash Course.
Yep.
And Automate the Boring Stuff.
Fantastic. And if anyone wants to learn more about the School of Code, where can they go?
School of Code, yeah.
Just type in School of Code into Google.
Brilliant.
And it'll come up. Yeah, it's
Perfect.
free boot camp. Do apply if you're interested.
Love that. I've been Kavam.
I've been Rash.
This has been Before Our Friends Die. Until next time.